can't sleep. I can't sleep. I can't sleep. It's not something that I can do. It's not within my power. It's not within my abilities in life to be able to sleep like a normal person. It used to be that I could do a whole bunch of work or exercise. And then be so tired at the end that I could just sleep. But I was working from 3 a.m. to about 9 a.m. Not non-stop, but pretty much consistently, with some breaks for snacks and whatever. I got a lot done, but still can't sleep. Ugh. I was thinking about things. I was thinking about people and integrity again. Of course, it's all I fucking think about. People are so funny, man. So funny the shit that people care about. So funny the priorities that people have. Most people are full of such fucking bullshit. It's something that I've been paying attention to more over the past 4 or 5 years. Actually longer, about 3 and then 4, about 7 years. Ever since I was always very creative, you see, as a child. And then I didn't really do anything with it most of my life until I hit about late 20s, and then I was like, you know what? I should probably do something with this. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna teach myself to be a landscape artist, creature design, all kinds of traditional art, you know? So I did. I got pretty good at it. Not great, but I enjoyed the process. Well, I enjoyed the process. And I made some cool stuff. That's nice. I could do much better now, but it's such a time sink and there's no money in it. And I'm fucking broke and I need to eat, so what can you do? But ever since I picked up art again and making things, you know, I feel like there's this common misconception that when you make stuff, it doesn't have to be beautiful stuff. Just make anything, crafty things, wood stuff that I make, or you just draw fucking pictures, paint a picture that people will take an interest in what you're doing. And I suppose in a sense they do, in that they take more of an interest in what you're doing as opposed to, you know, but that doesn't say much because the baseline is so non-existent to begin with, right? If you work in a regular like 9 to 5 job, you know, and you're not a particularly interesting person, you just play games or whatever you happen to do with your spare time, you read books, most people are not going to take much of an interest in anything that you do. So it would be considerable, or it was a considerable improvement picking up like art. And then, you know, some people show a modicum of interest in what you're doing, but to be honest, like, not by much. You know, it's just funny. You spend like 50 hours on a picture, right? Or I wouldn't spend nearly that amount of time with the wood stuff, but you spend, I don't know, 10 to 20 hours doing something, you know, and you produce this thing, and it's like the pinnacle of your creative journey, right? For the meantime, because when you're improving at something, everything is a pinnacle. You just keep going up and up and up and up. It's like an endless mountain, right? So your most recent pinnacle of grandiose improvement, your human milestone, you know. You produce and you show the people in your life, and they're just like, "Oh, that's nice," you know. And that's it. That's it. End of discussion. Um, but it's unfair, right? You can't put that kind of expectation on people. It's like, what are they gonna say? You know, you can't expect people to care about what you care about. Yeah, but if you have somebody in your life, right, and you spend a lot of time around them, or you know, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of time around them. I mean, you care about them in some capacity greater than your average fucking bear. Um, you have to show it. You have to take an interest in what the people around you are doing. Otherwise, what's the point of knowing them? You know what I mean? And the sad reality is that most people just don't give a fuck what you're doing with your time. Anytime you ever hear about how somebody cares for you is when there's a problem, you know? That's when you hear about it. That's when people are keen to put their foot in the door, you know? When you close it, or when you're closing it. Then they're like, oh, hold on a minute, you know? And it's such it's too late, you know? It's nonsense. It's stupid. And I'm not preaching that I'm better than everybody else. I mean, I am better than everyone else, but you know, you have to pretend you're modest. Um, I always try to take an interest in. This is why I keep my small groups, or keep my social groups so small to begin with, um, because it's very draining. It's draining to care about what people are doing with their time and so on, what people's passions and interests are. But I make sure to ask questions. That's why I keep my social group small. I ask questions. You take an interest. It makes people feel good. Otherwise, what's the point? You know? And it's such an irony too, because I'm such a misanthrope these days. And like I don't have anybody in my life anymore. And that's by design. Because I'm just so cynical. I'm just done. Like I'm really burnt out. People are fucking awful. But everybody else has a lot going on, a lot of social groups, you know, a lot of social everything. But they don't take an interest in what each other are doing with their lives. And they don't ask questions and they don't empathize and they don't. So what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? It's it's so weird. It's so strange to me. You know? Like we have like here I go, like I'm obsessed with death. We have like you have maybe like fucking 40 or 50 good years in you. The rest you're either learning or you're handicapped or ill or something, you know. You're fucked in some way. So you have like 40 to 50 good years to like learn how to be a decent human being. And most people just spend it like being a selfish cunt, you know, and then you die. And that's it. you know? Uh, and you share the planet with so many people, you know? And you know, looks like, what are you doing with your time? You could get really good at something, you know, and you could do that in your own time, and that's great. And then the rest of the time is interacting with other people, right? And those are both very rewarding things, and you can do them both simultaneously. But it seems to me that people do neither of those things. They just kind of like skirt on. They just kind of like fucking mosey from A to B. It's like everybody's in survival mode, but you don't need to be in survival mode. You know, maybe I'm just reading way too much into it. I think that most people are just fucking brain dead to begin with. Like, even people that I've known that I've considered to be quite smart. I think I can count people on one hand that have ever taken an interest in anything that I've done. You know, and the irony is, thinking of somebody in specifically. I'm thinking of two people in particular as a contrast to each other, and one of them is not even involved in art or creativity or really respects it to begin with, you know. But they would take an active. I would expect them to take an active interest in what I'm doing, you know. I would be very encouraged to show them what I was working on and show them a finished product and feel good about that. You know, I would feel really positive about that because I know that they would see it and appreciate it and ask questions and how did you do that and so on, you know? And that feels good. That's a very human experience, a very rich, empathetic, you know, experience. And that's fucking awesome, you know? Should be more of that. And then I'm thinking about the other person, and the other person is somebody, you know, who would be a contemporary to somebody like me. Is a very creative person, very involved in artistic everything, and I always loathe to show them the stuff that I make because I know that I'm never going to get any sort of interesting feedback, any curious questions. You know, I'm not looking for a fucking art critic here. I'm just looking for, here, you're my friend. I'm going to show you my stuff that I've made. That's pretty sweet, you know? But that doesn't happen, that, you know, because the interest is not there. Um, and it's sadly very common. And it doesn't even have to be art. It doesn't even have to be creative stuff, you know? It's just generally speaking, people just don't give a fuck what you're doing. Like, you're just like a flavor in their life, you know, a passing moment. Not a fixture, just a moment with the potential for more moments, but always just a moment, never a staple. But that's my experience. This is what I've been thinking about in bed because I just can't sleep. Just can't sleep. Can't sleep, can't sleep. Because I suppose it reminded me of social media and the way people behave on social media. Even my contemporaries. I'm thinking about 4 or 5 people who make very similar things to me, of varying skill levels. I would be probably somewhere in the middle, you know, and a couple of them are really, really, really good things that I would aspire to, you know, and then the other two, like, yeah, I don't really like their stuff. But they're all very successful, and I'm like the new guy on the block, right? Not that they think about it this way, because they don't. Like, this is the thing. This is the point I'm getting at. I'm not even on the radar. You know, you follow and you comment and you like these people's work, and you would expect them being artists and being business people and being people who presumably, I don't think it's the case, but presumably at one point in time have struggled like I have struggled and I am struggling. You would expect them to recognize and understand that. You know, you also have this nice in where You're making exactly the same stuff of different, varying variations, but same medium, same stuff, same themes, and you would expect them to see that and to interact with you in some fucking way. But they don't. They just don't give a shit, you know? They just don't. It's almost like when you reach a certain point of in privilege, you reach a certain point of social privilege, you just fucking forget about everything. You drop everything that came before you. You suddenly just like automatically morph into this cunt bag, you know? It's like an evolution. You just turn into a piece of shit when you don't need anybody anymore. When you have too much of something, you just automatically disregard everything that you've used to get to that point. You become blind to others who are in the same situation, you know? And it's disgusting. It is. And it's just sad because I've had people in my life for such a long time who I've always respected and tried to keep in my life in some way. And I suppose I'm just realizing that they're kind of just like that, which is a depressing thought. It is a depressing thought because it's like, where are the good people at? I don't know. I don't know. And the older I get, the less I know. And I'm fucking old. I'm only 35, but I have lived many lifetimes in a short amount of time, put it that way. But at least there's cute little birds in my garden. And a lot of them. So, good shit.